Hi, it's me. It's Thanksgiving in Canada, so there was no school today, so that means no human rights class. So we're just going to talk about a few subjects that interested me in the past week. A lot of the time, I look up different issues of human rights because I'm looking for things that interest me, things to go with my genocides, stuff like that. And one of the things I found was pygmy. Pygmy people, or pygmy, I think it's people, in Congo. And they're basically short humans. About 4-foot type height at full grown. And these people, they have Australia, Africa, South America. It's just a type of person. They're not connected, they're just short. And in Congo during the Civil War, both sides who were fighting were eating the pygmy people because they would hunt them down like they were game. And they would eat the pygmy people. What? They're people. You are committing cannibalism. Sorry, I do have a cold. 2. Why? Anyways, but there are myths that pygmy people, their flesh, their skin, has magical healing qualities. I guess this is kind of like the myth in Africa and Asia that sex with a virgin will cure AIDS. Right. Yeah, so I will include the Wikipedia link to the pygmies if you would like to read more about it, which quite interesting, like, wow. So, they are actually, I believe they are currently trying to get cannibalism put as a crime against humanity through the United Nations. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Another thing I wanted to talk about was in this book, International Evolution of Human Rights Vision Scene. Oh, sorry, the evolution of international human rights vision scene. And there was a page here, and we're studying the first 50 years of the Universal Declaration, and so that is on page 238. And I found something really interesting. So when the UN first started, the UN has their headquarters in New York, because that's who donated the ground, point blank. So it's talking about how all these countries have liberated themselves. They are no longer, I'm sorry, let me find the correct terminology because, yay, I haven't really stopped. Subjection, colonial rule. So they become uncolonialized, I believe. So when the United Nations, at the time of the creation, China was the only Asian country free from foreign control. So in 1955, only 5 countries in the entire African continent could claim independence. Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, Libya, and South Africa. So within 5-7 years, a dam broke. Many countries became emancipated. 89 states from Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East, and communist countries. So that's by 1960. That's not really what we're going to talk about. So this is talking about around the time of the creation of the UN. And so it's talking about how, first of all, these countries were ruled over, and now they're free, so they have their own delegates for the UN, and it's talking about how even though these countries became emancipated, there were still indigenous people in their own countries who had like no rights. So this is a passage. There's a very personal dimension to this as well. So when these non-white delegates came to the United States to represent their countries at the United Nations, they suddenly confronted the fact that regardless of their own distinguished accomplishments at home, they were often refused service and subjected to discrimination simply because of the color of their skin. This made them conclude that what they had heard about racism in America was not just Soviet propaganda. It was reality. So that is amazing to me, because you have these heads of countries, these strong people who are based on giving people rights. And you have people in America being like, you're black, I don't want to serve you. Probably with not as much sass, because, yeah, that's probably my 17-year-old girl self. But it's amazing, like, how can you refuse someone as important as a UN delegate at the time, because you were just getting out of the first war. You saw how horrible things were. So that is my rant from my reading thus far. She assigned one chapter and it's like 100 pages. Maybe about 50, but still. And yeah. So if you have any questions, look up the Pygmies and tell me what you think. Ask me questions maybe the next time I don't have class on a Monday or a Wednesday. I can just spend the time answering human rights questions. I do research all the time, so don't be afraid of that. Alright, so remember to look for the good in every evil.